The other thing is, and this won't be popular here, but excess protein consumption. Particularly if people, a lot of times people come to paleo because they're metabolically broken, right? They're overweight or they're struggling with all kinds of health issues. And they find paleo as a way of kind of restoring, or they're seeking it as a way of restoring their healthy metabolic function. But they've been dysglycemic for a long time. Their blood sugar's been all over the place. They're struggling with insulin resistance or whatever else. When you are dependent on sugar as your primary source of fuel, your body learns to become very clever and very creative at being able to create sugar from lots of other things that may be available too, well, namely protein. Your body becomes very efficient at converting also protein to sugar for its primary source of fuel, in addition to making use of dietary protein that way. And so when we consume protein in excess of what we need for our structural or metabolic needs, there is a significant percentage of that, it's not all, but there's a significant percentage of it that is going to get converted to sugar and used exactly the same way. I mean, that's just the reality, that you're not necessarily benefiting yourself by consuming more than you actually need. You're producing extra, metabolites your body has to get rid of. There's nothing that takes more energy, by the way, than the digestion of protein. It just really saps a lot of energy. Now, you get good things from it, but a certain amount of it's going to go to structure. And we have about 55,000 other things that the body uses proteins for. But beyond that, the rest of it is going to end up getting sent off to be converted to energy and stored the same way. And I think this is one reason why some people actually fail maintaining the paleo diet and being comfortable with it, and also why a lot of people failed with the Atkins diet, is that they go from these problems with broken metabolism to just, being told they can eat as many slabs of meat as they want. And their body continues, unbeknownst to them, to be dependent on sugar. Now, they may be producing ketones. That doesn't necessarily mean they're using them efficiently. People are, they're peeing on these little things they get at the drugstore, and hey, I'm in ketosis. Isn't that great? Just because you're producing ketones doesn't mean you're using them efficiently. So, to stimulate your body to use them efficiently, you've got to tell your body, don't go looking for that. This is what you got to use, and make use of this. Give your body fat, and it'll get the hint. But when you're continuing to kind of indirectly feed sugar into it, you're still maintaining some dependence on sugar as a major source of fuel, whether you're aware of it or not. And carb cravings can sneak into that. And sometimes they come back for people with a vengeance, because it's sort of like saying, well, this is your main source of fuel, but I'm only going to give you this much now, so deal. And people will deal for a while, and then they start looking, they start driving by those Krispy Kreme shops, and whatever else, and it starts to look better and better to them, or, and it becomes very easy to fall off that wagon. So part of this is more than just how paleo are you, but also how dysregulated were you before you adopted paleo. If you weren't that dysregulated, if you weren't eating junk food before you adopted paleo, then eating a little more meat might not be, generating so many problems for you in this regard. But I'm telling you, I've seen where this can be a problem. And just cutting back to making sure that your protein needs are being met, but that they're not being overly exceeded. I'm just saying. No judgments. All right, cool. So, also the excessive use of